We'll get you ready for Jets Patriots as the show rolls on. It's going to be awful weather at MetLife Stadium on Sunday. Does it matter when you're facing Bill Belichick and the Patriots? Last night, I know that most Giant fans went into that game thinking they couldn't win, they weren't going to win, and sure, the final score was 30-12. But the New York Giants could have won last night's game. Flat out, they could have won last night's game. If they make a play, they could win last night's game. And I got a list of 10 of them. Opening drive, Adoree Jackson, pick off Brock Purdy, make a play. Gary Brightwell dropping an easy pass, make a play. Getting off the field on 3rd and 15 and then 3rd and 13 and instead give up a touchdown. Go make a play. Leonard Williams called for a roughing the passer, which we could bitch about it all day. It is. Make a play. Darren Waller and his many drops, make a play. Daniel Jones throwing high to Darren Waller, make a play. And my favorite one, 100 missed tackles on Deebo Samuel right after the Giants made it a 17-12 game. Make a play. The final score was what it was. The total yards was what it was. The Niners are more talented. Tiki, am I nuts? The Giants could have won yesterday's game with a few of those things going the other way.
Well, I mean, you look at it right before beginning of the second quarter. There were a couple of situations, 3rd and 15, and it was a 3rd and 13. You mentioned them, and you're right. It's just make a play. It's 3rd and 15. San Francisco's deep in their own territory. I think they're on their own 25 or so yard line. They throw a screen to Deebo Samuel, and nobody makes a play.
Yep.
Nobody gets in position to make a tackle. He picks up 30 yards, and the reason that was so detrimental because 3 plays later, they're in the red zone. And you just put yourself in bad situations by not tackling, by turning down opportunities. It happened a little bit later in the game, too. 3rd and 13. Again, the Giants' defense is doing their job, right? Whether it's penalties or negative yard play, whatever it is. It's 3rd and 13 on the New York 31-yard line. They run a screen to C-Mac. Nobody makes a play. 5 plays later, they score a touchdown. So it was the opportunities that they didn't take advantage of. It's interesting because as I was watching the game, I'm looking, remember what I said yesterday? Quick passing game. They did that, right?
Yep.
Daniel Jones was pretty damn accurate for most of the game. Play 5-man defensive front so you don't get gassed in the run. Guess what? They did that as well, but they didn't tackle. Like the fundamentals were just off. And a game that could have been ugly, one possession, maybe the Giants find a way to win it at the end, turned into what felt like a rout as it got to the end of it because they just couldn't make plays. I wasn't even thinking about saying it like you did. Make a play, make a play, make a play. But really, you simpled and dumbed it down the way that it really was.
Thank you.
Make a play.
I'm very simple and dumb, Tiki.
No. You just make a play. Like it's easy. It's easy to get into the minutia of the, they ran this scheme. They should have done X, Y, Z. But really, it came down to guys not making plays.
That's it.
And the San Francisco 49ers, they did. Whenever they had the opportunity, they did.
All night long. Like I get we had the preconceived notion. And it's true that the San Francisco 49ers are a lot better than the New York Giants. We all get it. They're more talented on defense. They're more talented on offense. We all understand that. But if the New York Giants last night, especially on defense, but there's a whole bag of them on offense that I ran through as well, if you make a couple of plays, the game is different. And that's why I always say this as a fan. You may go into a game thinking you have no chance, but there are going to be things throughout that game that are going to drive you nuts because if you're just a little bit slightly better, the whole game changes. You as a defense have to get off the field on a 3rd and 15. Yeah. As a defense, you have to get off on a 3rd and 13. And then they were given a reprieve on a 3rd and 5 where if they get off the field and hold the Niners to a field goal, it's a close game. You cannot have and even put yourself in position to be called for bad penalties. Like, here's the thing about the Leonard Williams roughing the passer. They call that. They call that. Like, that's a penalty. Should it be a penalty? No. But do they not call that? They do. And so I thought Leonard played well last night. Like, he's one of the guys who I say, hey, you know what, that's a B-plus performance or a decent performance. But on 3rd and 12, you can't make that play, and that kills you.
But it ultimately wasn't – it wasn't a death knell because they still ended up just kicking a field goal. But your point is well heard, Evan, because they call that now because it was a perfectly timed shot on the quarterback. He hit him not in his head, hit him right in his chest. The only thing he did and this is why I hate it, was land on him. Right? This is that new roughing the passer. If you sack the quarterback or you get close to sacking the quarterback, you got to roll off of them. Physically, it's impossible to do what they're telling you to do. Because if Leonard Williams had landed on the side of Brock Purdy, it probably wouldn't have been a penalty. But because he landed right on top of him, it looks like roughing the passer. I hate it, but it's the rule.
And you mentioned the lack of tackling. And it was like a vice versa kind of thing because nobody on the Giants is making a play and forcing the Niners to bounce all over guys. But clearly Christian McCaffrey does, George Kittle does, Deebo Samuel does. And that's why if you added up last night, I did it myself, 1,300. That's how many missed tackles the Giants had last night. Now, I'm exaggerating, but put it this way. And I think I saw a CBS guy tweet this stat out. And I don't even know if it's true. But it sounds so ridiculous, and if you watch the game, it feels this way. I'm just going to go with it. Now, maybe Sean fact-checked this one, but it sounds about right, that the San Francisco 49ers had more yards after contact than the New York Giants had yards, period. Wow. And if you watch that game, you know what? You hear that, you let that marinate, and you say to yourself, yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense, considering the Giants as a team only were able to garner 150 yards. The Niners had 441 yards, and it felt like half of those yards came off of missed tackles and not being able to bring guys down.
Yeah, and that's effort. Right, there was one in particular. Elijah Mitchell had an outside zone run. It was also in the second quarter, and you just saw the rookie, Hawkins. He just turned it down. He didn't even try. Like he tried to go low, but he barely made contact, and he clips off 18-yard run, and you get in the scoring position, and it's effort. Right, to me, that's effort. I know that cornerbacks don't want to hit anymore. I know that they don't think that they need to tackle on the edges, and they're just out there to contain and drive a guy inside. But when you're the last line of defense, that's an effort. That's a want-to thing. That's a football thing. Right? I always tell you, sometimes, these guys who play this game, you got to be a little bit crazy. Well, when someone's running at you full speed and he's got some heft to him and you got to hit him, you just got to hit him, right? Because that's the game. Period. That's what you're paid to do. And if you're gonna turn it down, bad things are gonna happen. And I think that happened a lot for the Giants yesterday. I hate to call guys out on effort, but it's just what I saw. Right? I can't explain missed tackling other than you just didn't want to do it. Period.
I know we're all a bunch of not you, but me and Sean and even Loogie to a degree, we're kind of out of shape and we can't tackle a squirrel. But it is very difficult to hear that. I got to tell you, it's very difficult to hear it, especially about a rookie. It's difficult to hear about any NFL player that the want wasn't there, that the effort wasn't there. You're playing the third game of the NFL season against arguably the best team in the NFC. If the want isn't there then, when the hell is the want? Where is the want then? So, again, I know I'm saying it, and Sean will agree with me, and God knows he's fat and out of shape. But to hear about any NFL player not having effort third week of the year, Thursday Night Football, against a team like San Francisco, it's kind of disgusting.
Yeah. There was a play with Deebo, and then this one is the one that's all over social media. Deebo catches a dig route. I mean, it's a big gainer anyways, 15 or so yards. There are four defenders around Deebo Samuel. He runs into one guy, sheds him off. Runs into the second guy, sheds him off. The third guy just completely misses. The fourth one has a crappy tackle. And next thing you know, a 15-yard completion turns into a 40-yard gain for the San Francisco 49ers. It's just I can't explain bad tackling the third week in the NFL season. Yeah, week one, you're just not used to hitting because you didn't play in the preseason. Week two, your body's a little sore. You're getting used to it. Week three, it's crunch time, right? Go make a play. And again, none of this stuff is going to make the Giants win this game, but it's not going to feel like they got blown out like it feels like they did.
But you know what? It could have changed the game. That's why these games, I don't care what the final score is, when you watch it, there are moments where all of a sudden things feel a little different. I'll give you a specific moment. I think it's the exact same play, which is kind of funny. The Giants come back after they do nothing on the opening drive of the second half, and their defense forces a 3-and-out on the mighty San Francisco 49ers offense. They end up getting great field position. And they march down the field, and Matt Breida gets in the end zone in the Matt Breida revenge game. They go for two, which maybe wouldn't have done that. They don't convert, whatever. It's 17-12.
I can understand why they did go for two, by the way. It's because it allows you to tie the game or get ahead.
Yeah, but you got to think it's too early in the game to do that crap.
Yeah, but I think they're worried about the number of possessions they're going to get. And so, because of how dominant the time possession was, I mean, how many plays? The 49ers ran like 70 plays. The Giants ran 34.
The exact
35.
number was 78-46. So it was
ridiculous.
Yeah, crazy. Right after that, and whatever, the 2-point conversion argument, it turned out to be irrelevant, whatever. The first play the Niners ran, when here the defense has a chance to build off the 3-and-out, they kind of have a new life, despite all the mistakes they made in the first half of this game and not being able to get off the field. And that's the Deebo play where 4 different Giants missed tackles, including Pinnock, who I think missed twice. And that changed everything. Because at that point, you got a chance to build off of this. And I'm sitting there as a football fan. I'm not a Giant fan. I don't pretend. But it's 17-12. My thought is, you know what? These SOBs get off the field. We got a football game. They can win this game. Everything has changed. I don't care what the stats said in the first half. I don't care what happened on third down, all the mistakes. If you get off the field right now, 17-12, ball in your hands, let's go. And that's where I think, if you're a Giant fan, your view to me on last night changes. You can go in there all night thinking you're going to get your butt kicked. 17-12, early third quarter, defense just forced a 3-and-out, let's go. And what happens? Every single Giant on the roster basically took turns missing a tackle on Deebo Samuel.
Yeah, I know. And this is where, like, you'll look at the positives of this game. The Giants will. You know, Coach Dave. So he'll look at the you have to, right? And this is the thing that he'll say. He'll say, "Well, we had our opportunities." Right? I know that the final score looks ugly, 30-12, but this game was not that far away from us. And it's frustrating because I know that they're going to say that, but the reality is that they're just not good enough, or they don't have the right kind of effort right now in order to win games against teams they're supposed to lose to. Because they could have won this game.
Yes.
When you think about it.
Yes.
But all you can take away from it is, you know, not the moral victory, because I hate that.
No, there's
thing,
no moral victory from that last one. I'm sorry.
It's the what if victory.
Yes.
Right? What if? Well, if we had done this, and if we had done that, and if we had done this, it ultimately came down to if you just cared enough to hit guys and tackle, maybe you got a chance to keep this game tight and you win a tight one like you did last year many, many times.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I'd be annoyed after last night's game. I'd be even more annoyed after hearing you. And that's not a knock on you, but talking about effort and want, that would piss me off as a fan. Well, if that's what happened last night with why they couldn't make a freaking tackle and they couldn't get off the field on third down, that is unacceptable third week into this season.
Well, what else was it? It wasn't scheme, right? I think they had the scheme right. They played a lot of man coverage, which forced Brock Purdy to throw a lot of tight balls into tight coverage. He did that. And, yeah, they're going to complete passes. They have a talented roster. It's one of the most talented rosters in football right now, especially on offense. Hell, on defense as well, because their defensive line, Eric Armstead, just ate apart Shane Lemieux. But that's another story, right? This team has talent, but talent can be mitigated by effort. And I didn't see that enough, especially on the defensive side of the ball for the Giants.
I am so angry right now, Tiki. So angry. And I'm so sick and tired after every Giant game feeling like I have to make excuses for Daniel Jones, because I'm tired of making excuses for Daniel Jones. But on the
You're going in on Daniel Jones?
But no. I'm not, Tiki.
Oh,
but
okay.
a lot
Just
of people are this
sure.
morning. When you don't get off the field on third down, it limits the amount of possessions, like you were just alluding to, an offense can have. Daniel Jones is in a scenario now, and last night was a prime example where, unless he is throwing in somebody's numbers, nobody on this freaking team makes a play, and it's driving me nuts. You mentioned Deebo Samuel, tight into traffic. Darren Waller had one tight in the traffic, missed it. How about the first drive for the Giants where they settled for a field goal on first down? Gary Brightwell dropped pass.
Yep.
And, we can get to the Darren Waller controversial. Was it too high? Okay, fine. If we have to examine every Daniel Jones pass and whether they're too high or too low, we have officially lost our minds. I saw erratic passing from Brock Purdy where George Kittle is making plays 3 yards beyond him. Oh, by the way, George Kittle hustling on an erratic play just to break up an interception.
Yes. On a Dory,
Yes, on a Dory. Yet our guys catch the ball, they pop in the air, and they go an interception the other way. I know the excuse train for Daniel Jones feels like it's getting old for Daniel Jones haters who want, like, chum in the water, but nobody on this team makes a play, and Brock Purdy just had the softest 300-yard passing game on the stat line I've ever seen because his guys make plays.
It's funny, Tiki. I like Brock Purdy. I do.
Yeah.
I defended him earlier this week saying, guy's never lost a game. He's doing what he's asked. watching last night's game, take the numbers out, throw them away. Watching last night's game, if you put Daniel Jones on the Niners and you put Brock Purdy on the Giants and everything else stays the same, the Niners win by more.
Yes.
Brock Purdy was so inaccurate last night, and he was lucky. And I think Sean's actually right. Now, look, I don't think Daniel Jones played all that well.
But both things could be true.
Yes.
He could not be great in the game and also understand that nobody's helping him.
I agree. Daniel Jones was blah. Brock Purdy was bad. Brock Purdy had one of the worst 300-yard passing games I've ever seen. Now, it's one game. I'm not burying the kid. He is coming off a major injury. But you're kind of right. Like, Christian McCaffrey made plays. Deebo Samuel made plays. Mm-hmm. George Kittle made plays. And let's start with Darren Kenny Galladay Waller. Can he make a play? Because he didn't. He did not make a play. Nobody made a play. And I think that while Jones was blah, I don't blame him. I think he's sort of irrelevant in a lot of ways with his performance yesterday. I do think that the Niners' ability to make plays and the Giants' inability to make plays was one of the biggest differences in last night's game.
Yeah, to me, that's what it came down to. I can put some culpability on Daniel Jones, but he is low on my list, like really low on the list right now, because that's not why this game was lost. I think he was making do the best that he could, putting the ball where it had to be. There was a lot of quick game in this game. He had to get the ball out of his hands quick because that defensive line was constantly in his face. But to me, this isn't Daniel Jones. I think Daniel Jones did the best he could. I would have loved to have seen him run the ball more. And I felt like there was only one designed QB run that they employed. And, I'm not knocking Matt Breida because he actually had a pretty decent game. He scored a touchdown. But if you were going to keep this San Francisco defense off balance, they were all pinned back, just coming after him, right? There was no scheme up front. They would just get to the quarterback type of, keep it in Daniel's hands. And I know it's early. He maybe would have taken some hits, but that was the way you take control of the game or take away the advantage that the San Francisco defense had. That's the only thing, and that's not really on Daniel Jones.
No, I agree. We're going to take the temperature of Giant fans throughout the show, especially early on in the show, 877-337-6666. But I think I'm right about this. Despite going into a Thursday night with limited expectations on winning this game, sometimes the game happens and your pissed offness changes. And I think the Giant fan is pissed off this afternoon. We'll get your calls next, 877-337-6666. A lot more on this game, including a big debate that occurred last night in every person's living room and in every Giant text chat. Whose fault was it on that 3rd and 11 pass? Daniel Jones threw it too high, or Darren Waller needs to make the play? We'll address the controversy, plus Tiki needs to explain a bunch of things to us, such as why this team always gets off to awful starts, why Jalen Hyatt couldn't find the field, and why they abandoned the running game. So Tiki's got a lot of explaining to do.
Hey, it's Tiki Barber.
We'll get to all of that coming up on a very, very busy Football Friday. And Jet fans, don't worry. We got plenty to say about Jets Patriots as this show rolls on live from the Town Fair Tire Studios, powered by Town Fair Tire. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody.
Looking for comfortable and high-performing clothes? Well, 4Labs has you covered. With a focus on comfort and performance, their carefully designed garments are perfect for any activity. 4Labs is committed to sustainability, using eco-friendly fabrics without compromising on quality. Their garments are sweat-wicking, water-repellent, and quick-drying. Check out their workout gear like the Bolt Short and Level T, or office attire like the Traverse Pant or Range Chino, paired with the Cool Max sweater. Find 4Laps at 4laps.com or in stores worldwide. Embrace their mantra, start before you're ready.
A wise man once said after every week of the NFL season, I can't believe it's already week blank. Well, I follow his lead. I can't believe we're already in the middle of week 3 of the NFL season. And if you want to bet on it, there's one place to go, America's #1 sports book, FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets. Guaranteed when you place a $5 bet, that's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. With FanDuel, you can combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with a same-game parlay, and when you win, your winnings will be paid to you fast. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, no better time to get in on the action. The app is awesome. It's easy to use. They've got every kind of bet you could think of, spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit them right now at FanDuel.com/Evan. Kick off this NFL season right now with FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of WFAN. 21 and over, physically present in New York. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus